Great to speak to our next guest. I don't know whether this is good or bad. It's 40 years since he made his debut for Everton back in 1982. And he's looking younger now than he did do then. Peter Reid is with us.
Thank you for the compliment. I hope it's a compliment. Yeah, a long time ago. I nearly didn't make my debut for Everton because I failed the medical. But Howard Kendall, in his wisdom, pushed it through. Fair dues to him.
I read, it sounds ridiculous. I've been swatting up on you. I heard Gordon Lee would bid, I don't know whether he bid or was going to bid 600,000 for you when you were at Bolton. But then you had a dreadful run of injuries, didn't you? Before it was in fact, reading about you, it said at £60,000, it was almost a gamble to take you. You had a terrible time, didn't you?
I thought I broke my kneecap, and then I done my ligaments on New Year's Day against Everton, funny enough, and I was out a year, broke a leg, and then had a cartilage operation in 4 years. In about 4 seasons, I played about 20 odd games. So I failed medical, and I nearly signed for Jack Charlton at Sheffield Wednesday, and then Howard Kendall got on the blower, failed the medical, but he signed me, and the rest, as they say, is history.
The rest is history. Did during your career, those injuries, did you always suffer as a result of that, or were you perfectly clear after that?
No, I always had a problem. In fact, taking anti-inflammatories like Smarties back in the day, I burned the lining in my stomach. So during my career then, I hope no one's eating. I used suppositories after that to hide the pain. So it was a tough old career, but playing football is the best thing in the world. So it's worth going through a wee bit of playing to get out in the park.
Did taking the like Smarties, did that stop you going to Benny's on a weekend?
No. Let's just say we rehydrated a wee bit differently back in the day when I played. Funny enough, I was up in the northeast the other day and called in and seen Terry McDermott at Pollermine, who's in Great Neck, and I used to go with him. And then when Everton played Manchester United, in the boardroom, I seen another sparring partner, Brian Robson, who let me just, how could I put this? They like to drink. I've got to say. They like to drink.
which is a bit rich coming from you back in the day. Wow. Back in the day, may I say, back in the day. Not obviously not now, because you're looking a million. What, are you on a health kick or what's going on?
I take some omega-3 tablets, Zinzino they're called, and a powder. And I've been taking them for about 6 months, and they're absolutely brilliant. And I still like me drink. I was out Saturday and Sunday, but I train and I try to keep myself in half decent nick.
I'm just for posterity. Tell people about Benny's, because it was a nightclub, but it was like a crossover from different clubs, wasn't it? It wasn't just it wasn't just you. It was Big Sam was there. Everybody was there, wasn't it?
It was sort of a place to go. It was in Ratcliffe and Bury, so it was a bit obscure. No, not like Liverpool or Manchester. It was over the little railway bridge, and it was like a piano bar, restaurants upstairs, but it was absolutely magnificent. I'll tell you what, all the snooker lads got in. Tony Knowles, Jimmy White, all the lads. I mean, it was some place back in the day. Do
you know what? Because we were just talking off camera. You didn't meet Shane Warne in there. Did Shane Warne ever get in there, Benny's? I'm sure he did,
No, he was. I've been in Warne's company with a Mr. Bolton, because as you know, I love my cricket. I love Test, and I was made up. In fact, yesterday when we won the T20, I had to go out and have a glass of Laurent Perrier rosé champagne just to celebrate the lads' fantastic victory. But Shane Warne was one of the greatest players ever to walk the earth, and what a competitor, great player.
Okay, at what point when you joined Everton did you realise we've got a good side here?
Well, it was when I joined, I got injured, believe it or not, after about 4 games. So we struggled. I think we played Coventry and we drew 0-0 on a New Year's Eve, and there were leaflets out calling for Howard Kendall's head, and it was about 10,000 on a Goodison. And it was New Year's Day. It was on Match of the Day. It was the shortest clip on Match of the Day because we tapped out the game. But we beat Stoke City in the third round of the FA Cup 2-0. Andy Gray and Alan Irvine scored. And then we got on a roll. And I thought, wow, we won the FA Cup that year. Got beaten in the Milk Cup final as it was in them days by Liverpool. But we played really well. And then the following season, we beat them in the Charity Shield. But the start of that season, we got beat by Tottenham 4-1 at home. And then West Brom beat us. So the first 2 games we got beat. The next game was a Friday night game. We wore the grey kit. Howard Kendall says, we don't concede today. We drew 0-0. And from then on, we went on a run. And I remember we went to Anfield and beat them 1-0 in the October. Sharpie scored. On the following Saturday, we beat Manchester United 5-0 at Goodison, which was unheard of. You know, Brian Robson, Oldham played. But on the Wednesday, we had the League Cup tie at Old Trafford. It was the most brutal game I've ever played in. But we beat them 2-1. So in the space of 10 days, we turned Liverpool over at Anfield. We beat Manchester United 5 and then beat them at Old Trafford. It's then we all went, yeah, we got a chance. This team's got a chance. And we went from strength to strength.
What clicks though? What I mean, it fascinates me. You know, I've played in some terrible teams down the years. There's no doubt about it. Not even remotely at your level. But you sit there and you think we're going to hammer it, or you miss a chance. You think, at what point do you suddenly go, geez? You look round the dressing room and you go, we got him, and we got it all covered.
What happened? Me and Andy Gray were not being big-headed, but you know me, my personality and Andy's. There was a lot. Southall was 21, Sharp was 21, Heath was 21, Ratcliffe was 21, Gary Stevens was 21, Trevor Stephen was 19, Sheedy was early 20s. So all these sort of young lads grew up overnight, and that's the only. And Colin Harvey joined the gaffer and Mick Eaton as well. So there was about, you know, these young lads grew up. We got a maturity on the park and a confidence. Colin come in as a coach, and you know Colin Harvey. If you're on that training pitch and you're not at it, you get told. So there was they're the combination of things that I certainly think happened that made the Everton side at the mid-80s a really top side.
Tell us about John Bailey.
Brilliant character. Just a brilliant character. Great to have around. I mean, but Howard Kendall was really clever, you know. John Bailey was a fine footballer, but he bought Pat Vandernow. And the summer that we won the FA Cup, he went out and bought Paul Bracewell, and I'm thinking, am I going to get dropped here? So what it was such a competition for places. It was unbelievable. Bales lost his place, but for the dressing room, for the atmosphere, he needed to be at the football club because he was funny. He had a personality, and you show me a good dressing room, and I'll show you a good side. And that's what we had at Everton. And Bales was an integral part of that.
It said as I said, I've been doing my research on it. It says all the Everton websites and all this. A defensive midfielder in his playing days. I thought that was a bit unfair.
Well, when I was at Bolton and we got promotion, I got 10 goals in the middle of the park. But I did have to adapt me. You know, we were saying before about injuries, Rob. I did have to adapt my game, you know, where I sat in there a little bit. And I could tackle, but I had good feet. You know, I could handle the football. Well, you don't play for the top team if you haven't got good feet. And I was fortunate enough to play for my country as well. So, yeah, I think it does say in a lot of the sort of comments, defensive midfield player, but I could make a goal as well.
Great one with Andy Gray's diving header. I've been watching your stuff as well. You actually flew down the right wing there, and a lovely little sort. I don't know what it was. I slipped it past the fullback and across and everything.
Yeah, it was a bit. We were 1-0 down at the time, and that equalised, and we went on to win 4-1. Andy got 2 great diving headers. Trevor Stephen got an unbelievable goal as well. But that's what that side was capable of. That side, it could mix it physically, because you're actually the game when I played was a lot more physical than it is now. They're athletes now, and the pitches are great. We know that, but it was a physical game, so you had to be able to stand up to that. And that team could handle the physicality, but it could play as well. It could play.
How does the midfield, the Sheedy, Reid, Bracewell, Stephen, how does that stack up against all time?
Well, Everton have got a history of, I mean, the ball, Harvey Kendall, the Holy Trinity. That is and was an unbelievable midfield three. I think people have us up there with them. So that's the biggest compliment to us as players. The likes of Kevin Sheedy, as we know, had a wonderful left foot. I mean, Brace was top player, and Trevor Stephen, you know, all in their own right, really good footballers. But what I would say, Rob, is that the likes of Kevin Richardson, who went on and won the title with Arsenal, and Alan Harper come into that side and did a terrific job. So we had a really good squad. Not as big as the squads nowadays, but you know, you had to play well to stay in the side, and that midfield 4, I think, is up there with the best.
I interviewed Brian Robson the other day. He made a documentary that Robbo, fantastic watch, and we were chatting about Graham Souness, yourself. Who were you? I said, who was your toughest opponent? He didn't really sort of commit. But what about you? I mean, it was a different game almost, wasn't it?
Yeah, you just mentioned 2 players there that were absolutely outstanding. If you weren't on it, them 2 players were brilliant, and they were really difficult to play against. Matt Mahon was a good player as well. After Graham left, he come in. Ronnie Whelan was a terrific player, but you know, the Robsons and the Souness's, the Whitesides, fantastic. Glenn Hoddle, a different type of player to play against, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. John Barnes was an outstanding footballer, even though he was a central midfield. Towards the end of his career, he played in there. What a player he was. Chris Waddle, you know, some of the players I played against, Luther Mateus, you know, there really was a great generation of fantastic players.
Why do you think Peter Reid, got the PFA player in 1985, which I think is probably the pinnacle from your own peers? What was it about you, not just Everton having a great season? Why you? What stood out, do you think?
I just think what you commented on before, the horrendous injuries that I had. I think when I fought back from them and played in that 84-85 season, I think my fellow professionals took that into consideration as well, I've got to say, because when I won that, it was so emotional for me, because I'd worked really hard, and the guy who got me, because the specialist said to me, you mightn't play again. And there was a guy called Jim Hedridge, who was a physio of Bolton. He went on to go to Manchester United with Ron Atkinson, and he unfortunately dropped dead on the training ground. So when I picked up that award, the reason I was so emotional is because Jim Hedridge, who we sadly lost too young, was definitely part of me becoming a top player. I wouldn't have done it without him, and you know, I think the players took that in consideration, my injuries, and that's why I won it. I had a decent season. I think I got voted 4th best player in the world.
You did, and it wasn't a bad. Preben Elkiar, who I loved, I thought was an unbelievable
player. What a player!
Maradona and Platini and Peter Reid.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, was it? I mean, you know, when you mention them players, I mean, absolutely outstanding footballers. So it was a great year for me. You know, it was a great few years at Everton. You know, I managed to get an England cap at 29. You know, which was amazing. I thought I'd missed the boat on that, but the late great Sir Bobby Robson kindly put me in the squad and give me cap. So and I played in a World Cup, and possibly one of the most iconic games in Wales football.
Because you teed me up. I was going to mention it, but you teed me up. Come on, you're there, and you're playing with the Maradona handed goal, but the Maradona goal, and you're chasing him, but you would have caught him what?
Hey, listen,
come on, give me the line.
You're talking about one of the greatest players in the world, and you know, on that World Cup, he did it against Belgium. Eric Gerrard's man for man, who was a good defender, and he certainly took apart the German side, which was a good side. But you know, a lot of people forget that Valdano was in that side. He wasn't a bad player either. So it was a good side, but he was the match winner, and he was a terrific footballer.
But you were there. You were chasing him on the iconic goal, weren't you? Come on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's gone past me and Peter Beardsley at pace. He's done Terry Butcher, who'd tried to get back at him. He'd done Terry Fenwick, who'd been booked, who might have blocked him. Got in the inside right position, and Schultz come out like a bag of and he stuck it on the bottom corner. All to do with me, Rob.
Back to Everton. What was the? Is there a night? Is there a game? I mean, we did a chat, didn't we? You, me, and Andy.
Yeah.
Long ago. Was it Bayern Munich? Was that?
Bayern Munich was
the pinnacle of certainly domestically. Yeah.
I think the best team performance was the 5-0 when we beat Man United. But for atmosphere and for being 1-0 down against Bayern Munich, who you know, they were a top side. Argentile, Pfaff goal, Dremler, Luther Matthäus, Rummenigge, Hoeneß. They were an outstanding football. Soren Lerby, they were an outstanding side. So to draw 0-0 in Munich, and do you know that game? It's amazing because Andy Gray was unfit and Sheedy was unfit. And you know the way people talk about master tacticians, you know, the game now, these new coaches. By the way, Howard Kendall in 1986 had 4 across the middle of the park in the away game. Alan Harper, me brace, Kevin Richardson, and then what he did, which was a masterstroke, Sharpie up front. He had Trevor Stephen, sort of, what did he call it now? A number 10, a false.
Yeah.
We were doing, Howard Kendall was doing that then. So, you know, he was brilliantly tactically. We went over there, drew 0-0, but the atmosphere at Goodison Park when we turned Bayern Munich over was absolutely mind-blowing. If you ever get a chance to watch it on YouTube or anything, it's Goodison Park rocked that night, and we put on a performance to match the let's just say the fervour of the crowd, because the crowd was sucking that ball in the Gladys Street end. They were unbelievable on the night. The Everton supporters, unbelievable.
Do you have to watch the videos, or can you remember it like that?
Yeah,
moments of Everton.
Yeah, there was a movie made. If you get a chance, watch it, Howard's Way.
Yes,
it was a couple of years ago, and I sat down. My grandson was about 10 at the time. He was a good little footballer, and he sat down and watched it with me, and he was open mouthed at the physicality. He was like, the physicality. He could not believe the physicality of it. He just went, "I can't believe what I'm watching here." He just said, "It's ridiculous."
Well, even that Bayern Munich game was. I mean, there's so many great players, but oh my gosh, if you go, I mean, today, I can imagine VAR on that.
There'd be no one on the pitch. It was brutal. It was brutal. I remember saying to Kevin Ratcliffe, he had a young winger called Kogler who was quick, and I said, "Rattles, if you get a chance, he needs a reducer." Oh Jesus! I think he called him neck high. It was a ridiculous tackle. ridiculous. But that's the way it was back in the day. It was a physical game we played.
You're sitting in your little den there. It's not just the football. You're talking about England, the cricket. You've got a Gary Sobers. You've got a Shane Warne. You're a man who just loves sport. You love English sport particularly as well, don't you?
Yeah, like I said, it was made up yesterday when we won the T20. I went out to celebrate, but I love my football, my cricket. I like my rugby as well. So it's sports is a passion. I couldn't really see life without sport. If I'm perfectly honest, I just love it that much. And there's nothing like going to a test match. I mean, some people find it boring. I find it fascinating. So every aspect, and there's nothing like going to a big game. The atmosphere at big games, and Goodison Park atmosphere, the Anfield, some of the grounds I've played on, the Old Main Road, Old Roker Park. The new stadiums are great, but them traditional hours, and we're losing Goodison Park in a couple of years, and the new stadium is going to be iconic on the banks of the River Mersey. But there's always a little bit of the Goodison Park's known as the old lady, and it's got something about it, like the old grounds have, Old Trafford, Old Main Road, and I know progress, and we're getting a new ground, but some of them grounds, White Hart Lane and Ivory, I just used to love playing at them. It was brilliant, and the game's brilliant now, but I'm glad I played in the era I did. I loved it. How would you have dealt with social media in your day? Well, I deal with it now. I just have a laugh when they decide to dig me out, because I'm a bit of a socialist, so the right wingers decide to come at me, but ain't a problem for me. I just words never hurt me. I'm one of them, you know what I mean? So I ain't got a problem. You get some balloons, you get bots, but hey, they'd only be writing graffiti on walls if they didn't have Twitter. So let them keep coming, not a problem. Last one for you. There's a fantastic song doing the rounds about you. It's a song dedicated for you. If I love you half as much as I love Peter Reid. Have you seen it? Oh, it's Tingio's brother, isn't it? It's Elvis Costello's little brother. Yeah, wrote him about that. It's absolutely magnificent. Oh, it's funny, isn't it? You can give me everything that I want. You can give me everything that I need, but I'll never love you half as much as I love Peter Reid. Have you seen it? It's funny. He sent me on Twitter. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's funny. Yeah, hilarious. We're going to play that one. We're going to play that. Hey, listen. Do you know what? Go ahead. Thanks. It's always good for you, and I'll give you the bell when I'm in London next, and we'll have a shandy. That'd be absolutely fantastic. As always, my friend, take it easy, Reedy. See you, pal. Ta-ra. You can give me everything that I need.